Gaius Julius Caesar, a name synonymous with power, ambition, and ultimately tragedy. Born in 100 BC, Caesar's family, the Julii, were patricians, Rome's ancient aristocracy. They claimed descent from Iulus, the grandson of the goddess Venus. Despite their lineage, the Julii were not wealthy. Caesar's childhood was immersed in the tumultuous world of Roman politics. His uncle, Gaius Marius, was a celebrated general and a leader of the Populares, a political faction favoring the common people. This early exposure shaped Caesar's worldview and ignited his political aspirations. Rome was a republic, but power struggles were common. The Senate, composed of noble families, held significant influence. However, ambitious individuals could find other paths to power. They could use military success and popular support to challenge the established order. This path, fraught with risk and opportunity, would come to define Caesar's life. Caesar's military career began, like many others of his class, with a standard path of service and duty. He served with distinction in various campaigns, proving himself a capable soldier and a leader who could inspire his men. However, it was his appointment as governor of Gaul, modern-day France, that would truly forge his legend and set him apart from his peers. Gaul, a vast and fertile land, was inhabited by fiercely independent tribes, each with its own customs and leaders. It was a challenging command, but for Caesar, it was an opportunity to demonstrate his strategic genius and expand Rome's influence. For almost a decade, Caesar waged relentless war against the Gauls, showcasing his military prowess and determination. He was a brilliant tactician and a charismatic leader who inspired his legions to achieve the impossible. His campaigns, meticulously documented in his own writings, are studied by military minds even today, offering insights into his strategies and decisions. From the dense forests of Germania to the distant shores of Britain, Caesar's name became synonymous with Roman might and ambition. One of his most famous victories came at Alesia in 52 BC, a battle that showcased his tactical brilliance. There Caesar faced Vercingetorix, a chieftain who had united the Gallic tribes in a desperate bid to resist Roman domination. The ensuing siege was a masterpiece of military engineering and strategic brilliance, a testament to Caesar's ingenuity. Caesar's victory broke the back of Gallic resistance, securing his place in history as one of Rome's greatest generals. He had conquered Gaul, adding a vast territory to the Roman Republic and significantly expanding its borders. Caesar's Gallic wars, however, were not without controversy and political ramifications back in Rome. Critics back in Rome, particularly among the conservative Optimates faction, viewed his growing power and popularity with suspicion and concern. They saw him as a threat to the Republic, a man whose ambition knew no bounds and whose influence could potentially destabilize the established order. While Caesar was conquering Gaul, his military campaigns were not just about expanding territory, but also about solidifying his power and influence. The Roman Republic was teetering on the brink of civil war. Political tensions were at an all-time high, with factions within the Senate vying for control. His former ally, Gnaeus Pompeius Magnus, Pompey the Great, had sided with the Senate against him. This alliance with the Senate gave Pompey significant power and resources. Ordered to disband his army and return to Rome to face charges of insubordination, Caesar faced a stark choice. The stakes were incredibly high. To comply meant political oblivion, possibly even death. Caesar knew that surrendering would strip him of his power and leave him vulnerable to his enemies. To defy the Senate meant civil war. It was a decision that would change the course of Roman history forever. In 49 BC, Caesar made his decision. He chose to take a path of no return. He led his legions across the Rubicon, a small river that marked the boundary between Gaul and Italy. This bold move was a direct challenge to the authority of the Senate. This act was a declaration of war. It was a point of no return, signaling the start of a monumental conflict. The die is cast, he is said to have declared, fully aware of the momentous path he had chosen. His words echoed the gravity of the situation. The ensuing civil war pitted Roman against Roman in a brutal conflict that engulfed the Republic. Families and friendships were torn apart. Caesar's veterans, hardened by years of fighting in Gaul, proved a formidable force. Their loyalty and experience gave Caesar a significant advantage. He quickly gained the upper hand, defeating Pompey's forces in Italy and driving his rival to the east. This marked the beginning of Caesar's dominance in Roman politics and military affairs. Caesar's pursuit of Pompey led him on a whirlwind campaign across the Mediterranean, showcasing his relentless ambition and military prowess. He fought in Greece, Egypt, and Africa, defeating his enemies and consolidating his power. Each victory brought him closer to his ultimate goal of absolute control. In 48 BC, he decisively defeated Pompey at the Battle of Pharsalus in Greece, a turning point that marked the beginning of his dominance. Pompey, once the darling of Rome, fled to Egypt where he was assassinated. This event sent shockwaves through the Roman world. Caesar's victory seemed complete, but the war dragged on. His enemies were not yet ready to surrender. He faced stubborn resistance from Pompey's sons and other opponents who were determined to challenge his authority. It was not until 45 BC, after the Battle of Munda in Spain, that Caesar finally extinguished the last embers of opposition, securing his rule. He returned to Rome as the undisputed master of the Republic, celebrated by the people and feared by his rivals. The Senate, cowed and depleted, bestowed upon Caesar unprecedented powers. They had little choice but to comply. He was appointed dictator for life, a position that effectively made him the sole ruler of Rome with no equal. While he continued to observe the outward forms of the Republic, Caesar's word was law. His decisions were final. He controlled the army, the treasury, and the machinery of government, leaving no aspect of Roman life untouched by his influence. Rome, once a bastion of republican ideals, was now ruled by a single man. The era of the Republic had ended and the age of Caesar had begun. Caesar's reign as dictator was marked by a flurry of reforms. You see, he understood that the Republic, plagued by corruption and inefficiency, needed radical change. He granted citizenship to many people in the provinces, expanded the Senate to include his supporters, and implemented measures to alleviate poverty and unemployment. One of his most lasting achievements was the introduction of the Julian calendar in 45 BC. Developed with the aid of Alexandrian astronomers, this new calendar, with its more accurate 365-day year and leap year provisions, would become the standard calendar in much of the world for centuries to come. Despite his many accomplishments, Caesar's rule was not without its critics. His autocratic style and disregard for traditional norms alienated many in the aristocracy. They whispered of tyranny, fearing that he sought to make himself king. While Caesar refused the crown on at least one occasion, the seeds of discontent were sown. As Caesar consolidated his power, a conspiracy brewed in the shadows. A group of senators, led by Marcus Junius Brutus and Gaius Cassius Longinus, plotted to assassinate him. Motivated by a mix of personal ambition and a belief that Caesar's rule spelled the end of the Republic, they decided to act. On March 15th, 44 BC, the Ides of March, Caesar entered the theatre of Pompeii where the Senate was meeting. As he sat down, the conspirators surrounded him, their daggers drawn. Caesar, caught off guard, fought back, but was overwhelmed by their numbers. He fell to the ground, stabbed 23 times, his blood staining the marble floor. The assassination of Caesar sent shockwaves through Rome. The conspirators, hoping to be hailed as liberators, misjudged the mood of the people. The masses, who had benefited from Caesar's reforms and admired his leadership, were outraged by his murder. Rome once again teetered on the brink. Julius Caesar's life was tragically cut short, but his impact on history was profound. He was a brilliant general, a shrewd politician, and a visionary leader who left an indelible mark on Rome and the world. His military conquests expanded the Republic's territory and power, while his reforms addressed some of its long-standing problems. Caesar's legacy is complex and often contradictory. He was a champion of the people, yet he ruled as a dictator. He strengthened the Roman state, yet his actions ultimately led to its transformation from a republic into an empire. He was a man of immense talent and ambition, flawed like any human, but one who helped shape the course of history. The assassination of Caesar did not save the Republic. Instead, it plunged Rome into another period of civil war. Caesar's adopted son, Octavian, later known as Augustus, emerged as the victor. Through a combination of political acumen and military might, Augustus outmaneuvered his rivals, including Mark Antony and Cleopatra of Egypt. In 27 BC, Octavian formally established the Roman Empire, marking the end of the Republic. He assumed the title of Augustus, becoming the first Roman emperor. The empire that Augustus founded would endure for centuries, becoming one of the largest and most influential empires in world history. Julius Caesar's life and death were pivotal moments in the history of Rome. He was a product of his time, a man of extraordinary ability who rose to prominence in a period of great upheaval. While his ambition ultimately led to his downfall, his actions helped shape the destiny of Rome, transforming it from a republic into an empire. His legacy continues to fascinate and inspire, reminding us of the enduring power of ambition, the allure of power, and the fragility of even the most powerful states.